My name is Laura Barron. I'm the Director of Events for Young Women in Law. Thank you so much for coming out this afternoon. It's an incredible turnout, and we think you're really going to get a lot out of the session today. Just to remind you that the session today is CPD accredited for 1 hour for the new member requirement and 1 hour for the professionalism requirement. So make sure you go on the LSUC portal this afternoon. So we're planning to end the session today at 1 o'clock. It might go a few minutes over. If it does and you have an obligation back at the office, feel free to duck out, we understand. Just wanted to extend a huge thanks to Norton Rose and the Marsden Group for sponsoring the event today. It's lovely and we're so happy to be here, so thanks so much. So the panel this afternoon is made up of 4 female lawyers who all moved into careers in professional resources at varying stages of their career. Michelle Gage is the National Director of Legal Talent at Norton Rose, and she's been with Norton Rose since 2003. Joanne Clarefield Schaefer is the National Director of Professional Development and Student Programs for Bennett Jones. Mary Jackson is the Chief Officer of Professional Resources at Blake's, and she's joined there in 1999. And Deborah Glatter is the Director of Professional Development and Student Programs with Cassels Brock, and she's also been with them since 1999. So, and also Carolyn Berger, who will be moderating this afternoon. She's with the Marsden Group, and as a legal recruiter,
it's okay. I'm fine with that.
Interacts with many associates on a day-to-day basis, so she's the perfect person to be moderating the panel. So I will hand it over to Carolyn. Thanks so much.
Hello. Thanks, Laura, and thank you, panelists, for being with us here today. Our topic this afternoon is how to navigate and manage your path in private practice with a long-term outlook. So we're hopeful that this forum will allow for a candid, informal discussion and offer you practical tools that you can take away and implement in your day-to-day practice. This is a tremendous opportunity to hear from experts who have been actively involved in sourcing, developing, and retaining talent in some of the country's leading firms. And they can tell us exactly what makes an associate successful. So we're going to start today's discussion with business development and developing your practice. Business development seems to be the buzzword now at every level of practice, and something that should be considered early on, we hear. So, Mary,
Okay.
What's the best advice you can offer when starting out regarding business development?
I thought about this a lot because everybody talks about business development and business development skills training, and what business development really is just attracting work. It's a pretty simple concept, and I think depending on how you're going to do business development is going to depend on what area you're in, what level you're at. I think the hardest thing to kind of keep in mind, we all went to university for a billion years. I think I went for 13 years and was shocked when I found this out, that just being a good lawyer is not good enough. You can being a good lawyer, that's the price of admission, but to really do well in your career, you have to take responsibility of your own brand. You have to take responsibility to network. You have to take responsibility for people to want to work with you. It's pretty simple, but it's actually quite difficult because you have to develop the habits that go with that. And I was trying to think of some good examples. I think generally speaking in your junior years, basically a lot of your business development is just inside your own law firm. You want to be the person that everybody wants to work with. That's key. And you have to think a little bit about who the person is that everybody wants to work with. What do they give back to their clients? And I know it's trite, and I'm sure you've been told this by your own firms a billion times. You have to treat more senior people like they're your clients, but you really do, because in the end, if you're helpful to those people and you're helpful in making them successful in their business relationships, that's the absolute key thing you need to do. And that means you have to be good with the people who are challenging. Not that Blake's has anybody that's challenging. So clients are who your clients are. And you're going to find, whether they're external or internal, you've got to figure out how they work, how to work well with them. And that's where you really need to start, because all the skills you're going to need outside your organization, you need inside your organization. So you got to start from the get-go doing that. I don't know, Carolyn, if you want me to go on.
You mentioned brand, and that's something I've actually heard Deborah speak on before. What does that mean? What does an associate have to do to have a brand? What does that mean in your world?
You want a skill, a profile that travels with you wherever you go. So it's not good enough to be Deborah Glatter from Cassels, Brock, and Blackwell, and for me to rely upon my firm's credibility to open doors for me wherever my career might take me. People have to associate excellence in what I do with my name. So I have my own brand, so when you think of my name, you have a concept, good or bad, and that's up to me to manage those optics. You all have to think about that as well, developing your own brand so that when people hear your name, they will have a reaction, hopefully very favorable. And that starts by being courteous and appropriate with lawyers, however challenging, who you find opposite to you in files, clients, and getting your name out there. Speaking, engagements like this in a year or two when you're ready for that. Writing. One associate who we just hired was actually too young in terms of years of call for what we were looking for. But she attended the interview, and on her CV, she had written an article. And all of the partners in the room looked down and said, oh, she wrote that, that was good. They had all read the article and thought it was very good. Boy, she's only in her second year and she wrote that? That's pretty impressive, because you can't tell from the byline who wrote it. She got the job. So there was somebody who was already very busy creating her own brand, and the brand recognition was positive and opened a door for her.